Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's another day to give thanks. If you're here, you're alive, you're watching this video, give thanks for life, because given the circumstances, it could be a lot worse. By the way, if you just so happen to be clicking on my video for the very first time, my name is Donella, and of course this is my world of makeup here on YouTube. So last week I tried to film a beginner friendly color series look. However, I failed terribly. So this is actually my second attempt at doing a beginner friendly color look. So I'm hoping that this time it actually goes the way I want it to go, because I know last week's upload with the coral look was by far anything that was beginner friendly. So this is my second attempt, so hopefully everything goes well, and I'm sure you guys could tell what the finished look looks like from the thumbnail. So let's just jump straight into this. While I'm doing this, I'm trying as much as possible to stay hydrated. I got my 2 bottles of water right here, St. Kitts and Nevis, because we are one federation. So St. Kitts-Nevis, I'm drinking my island, my 2 islands water. So starting off with a base, I'm going to be using my Black Opal Total Coverage Concealer. This is a concealer. In most cases, for almost any eye look, you would see a makeup artist using an eyeshadow primer. However, I did explain some videos ago that I have been really liking using a concealer as a base, and this one, that is this potted concealer, actually works well. So what I normally do is just give it a couple of swirls with my brush to just basically warm it up a bit before I apply it to my lids. So if you have an eyeshadow primer and you want to use that, you can use that, but I just like using this, so I'm going to be using this as my primer for this. If you have this primer or something similar, please be sure to basically apply in patting motions on your lid first. That's what I normally do, and then I'm going to take the areas up here and just basically blend them out. You can use the same concealer. Concealer is really thick, so I wouldn't use the same brush. What I would normally do is go in with a different brush and then just blend out the edges. I realized that this concealer, the consistency of it is so thick that it's always good to go in with a second brush just to diffuse some of the thickness. So I'm going to be using the Colored Rain Safari Rain. I'm really going to be focusing on using these 3 shades of green. This matte color here, which is called Congo Basin. This shimmery color, which I'll probably use maybe as like a top coater or something. This one is called Green Valley, and then this deep shade of green, which is called Jungle, which I'm probably going to be using on the outer portion or the inner section of my eye, just to deepen the crease a bit. So I'm going to start off by using, actually I'm going to start off by using clay, which is this like brownish orange shade. I'm going to use that as my transitioning color first, and then I'm going to go over with Congo. So I went ahead and completed this eye, so I'm going to run through real quick the colors that I use on this eye over here. So first of all, if you see any bit of creasing on your concealer before you apply your shadow, always go back in again with the concealer brush that you use and just go in with patting motions. Packing motions or patting motions. It depends on which one you want, which word you want to use, and that's basically going to diffuse whatever little lines that may have developed while it was there. So what I'm going to do, of course, is go in with my transitioning color, which is this brownish orange shade. This is the shade Clay. Now if you have this palette, it will be so much easier for you to follow this tutorial, but if you don't and you have colors that are very similar to any of these colors, you can go ahead and use that if you want to recreate this look. So let me go in with Clay and use that as my first transitioning color. I'm always forgetting, I always pack first. Just like that, and then I go ahead and blend. I think the camera went off a bit there while I was packing this on. Go over this again. I did go into the shade Congo Basin with a smaller blending brush, and as you guys can see, I'm holding it like a little bit close to the bristle area. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want a little bit more intensity out of the color, and you can hold it down here if you want it to be blended out, like really diffuse the color. But if you really want more intensity, then you hold it a little bit closer to the bristles. So that's what I want a little bit more color out of this. So I'm packing it on and I'm holding it much closer to the bristles. So I'm packing and then I'm blending. Before we apply our lid color, this is not a cut crease, by the way. What I'm doing is just basically going in again with a second coat of the concealer and just basically adding it to the lid. You're not doing any cut crease, you're not cutting the crease, just basically patting it on the lid. And if you can see where your lid ends, you know, like that crease between there, between your brow bone and your lid, is where your lid actually ends, begins, whatever you want to call it. So I'm not doing a cut crease, but I am trying to make sure that the line is as straight as possible. I'm just packing it on just like this, and this is just going to take up, this is just going to eliminate some of the color that would have fallen on your lid. So if you're a beginner and this is your first time doing this, you might want to try it and do it in this motion right here, packing motion, so it's easier for you to eliminate whatever color that may have fallen on your lid. This is where your blending technique would come in. I'm going to go into this deep shade of green right here. This is called Jungle. If you have this palette, this is the Jungle shade. Something that's quite similar to the Jungle shade, you can go ahead and use that. It's a very deep shade of green. It almost looks like a blue green. And I'm just going to pack it on the edge right here. You're going to pack it free. You're going to do it like this first, almost like you're just basically pressing the brush right there in your crease. That's what you're going to do. Especially if you're not really good with blending colors. These colors are matte. Matte colors are always really, really good to start off with if you're just playing up with colors. You might not want to play so much in like those pigmented, sparkly colors as yet. Unless you're just using them basically with your fingers to use them as like a lid topper. So we're gonna do the same thing until we just basically build up the intensity right here. And then after you've done that, same thing, pack, dip the brush back in one more time, and then you blend. And you're gonna try it as much as possible to stay just right here where your pupil ends, right here. Don't go all the way over here as yet, not as yet. Blending actually takes a bit of work. If you're just playing up with colors, and you know, some of us who are more experienced would know that there are a few shortcuts that you can take whenever you're blending out. Not that you can just not blend everything out, but there are a few shortcuts that you can take when you're blending things out. But if you're just playing up in colors, you might want to take it easy and go step by step. And then the third step, of course, would be applying whatever shade of green, well, this shade of green in this instance, which is the shade Green Valley, on your lid. I'm taking a flat eyeshadow brush and just basically swirl it around, and you can start at whichever end you want, whether you want to start from this end or you want to start from this end. I actually like to start from the inner portion of my eye. That's just my preference. And then I'm just going to basically pat it on. Now I know some persons like to do the wiping motion, especially with these pigmented eyeshadows. You can do that because sometimes the shadow kind of just like gunk up and kind of build up in one area, and you can actually just use the flat eyeshadow brush to kind of blend everything out. We have pretty much that entire lid covered. Going back and forth just to make sure that you cover all the skin and there's no naked skin right in between here. Like any other eyeshadow look, you go back in with all the colors over again. So what I'm going to do is basically go back in with the shade Jungle, which is a deeper shade of green, and I'm just going to start off by blending that into the Green Valley, just so that the two colors meet, just like that. And then I'm just going to start by dragging a bit of Jungle over a bit more over here. Here's a trick, especially if you have my type of eye shape. Like, I know persons that actually say I have this like a cat eye shape, but if you're blending eyeshadow and you want to know how far up you can go, especially when you're using monochromatic colors. Monochromatic colors, just in case you don't know, is basically different shades of the same color. So I'm gonna keep dipping into Jungle right here in my brow bone area, and then I'm gonna drag it downwards. So it's like up and then down, just so that I can get that nice little arch right there. And I'm only doing this because it looks good on my eye shape. So I will be going in with whatever liner you're comfortable with, whether it be a pencil liner, a liquid liner, or in my case a gel pot liner. It all depends on your level of comfortness. I'm just going to be using this gel pot because I absolutely love how this dries down. You know, because it's beginner friendly, as you guys can tell, I didn't do a wing liner, so I actually stopped right here at the edge of my eye. I didn't go and do any wing liner. I just stopped right there on the edge and just basically tied everything. While my lash is drying down, let me just go ahead and add some mascara to my eyes. I did go in a little bit thick with the liner, and it's really because because of the look, I just feel like it's not going to look good with a thin liner. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I just feel like it looks better with a thick line of gel line. This lash drying down, she's not completely dry. Listen, I've been using basically the same set of lashes for the last 2 weeks because you know it's scary out there in the streets, and it's not like we have a lot of options. So I'm trying as much as possible to recycle my lashes, you know, clean them off with isopropyl alcohol, pull off the excess glue with a tweezer, and then basically just putting them to dry so I could reuse them. So I'm gonna be reusing them as many times as possible until it's time to throw them away. So you got lashes on, let me just go ahead and deal with my complexion now. Okay, so guess what? I actually used airbrush foundation, the MAC Pro Performance HD airbrush makeup. I didn't use the actual airbrush compressor. I used my sponge and I applied it to my face. By the way, this is the shade Caramel. It's like a reddish brown. So I'm wondering if I should I hope this doesn't oxidize, because I should have probably used the shade NC50, but what the heck. I'm gonna go in with a lighter shade of concealer, something that's a little bit more on the yellow side, just in case. I'm using my Too Faced concealer. It's the multi-use sculpting concealer. This one is the shade Chestnut, just to diffuse a bit of that redness, because I'm seeing a little bit of redness on my side. I don't know if you guys can see it on camera, because that caramel shade is like a reddish brown. I found my Sacha Buttercup powder. I told you guys I had some lying around here. Some, ooh, girl, be careful. Alright, so I'm going to go in by using my very tiny ColourPop sponge to set my concealer. I'm accustomed to the Fenty Honey powder, right? I almost feel like this Sacha Buttercup powder isn't yellow enough anymore. Like, I'm so accustomed to that rich shade of yellow. This Sacha powder almost like it's lost its yellowness to me. But anyway, we'll still use her. I'm not going to be using any cream contour. I'm going to be using my Black Radiance, what is this called? True Complexion Contour Palette. This one is in the shade Dark to Deep. And yeah, this is the shade that I use obviously, because this is gonna be too dark for me. This is for, you know, my deeper skin dark beauties. Let me just stand by that. I'm gonna put that right here. Because I want to keep it beginner friendly, I'm not going to be doing a shadow drop. I'm just going to line my eyes using my e.l.f. black pencil and then pull out my bottom lashes. If you have a lash primer, this is basically just like when you're priming your skin. You prime your skin first and then you apply the foundation. But in this case, you are priming your lashes first and then applying the mascara over it. And don't wait for it to dry. Go right in with your mascara right away. I think I dipped my hand in toucan right while I was pressing down this lash. So now I'm seeing a bit of gold on my lash. Really? You know what? I don't know. So this was me trying not to add a lot of glow and ended up adding a lot of glow. So you know what? Since I added a lot of glow on this side, might as well do it on the other side, right? Might as well. Might as well. Just add a little bit here on my temples. I feel like adding some there. Alright guys, so I am back and this is pretty much the completed look. I didn't really focus so much on my skin, like I didn't really focus so much on my foundation routine, because as it stands right now, my foundation routine is actually the same. It's just that, you know, I may incorporate something new here and there, nothing too extensive to the point where I have to actually break down the routine. As you guys can see, the routine is pretty much the same thing from my last 4 uploads. If you guys could hear my dog back in the background, I apologize. I don't know. Since this lockdown, I think he gone crazy. He backs at everything. Leaves, lizards, birds, the ear. Possibly me and all. I don't know. He just backs at everything. I'm really hoping that this eye look falls under the beginner friendly category. Although I did use 4 colors, you could say the main focus was on 2 colors in particular, which is a deep shade of green and then the lime green sparkly shade, which is called Green Valley, I think it's called, from the Safari Rain palette from Color. To recreate this look, or if you're having trouble recreating this look, please be sure to drop me a comment down in the comment section. And if you happen to have appreciated this tutorial, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up on your way out. Guys, that is it for this video. I'll talk to you guys real soon on my next upload. Bye bye.